Brazil's ex-CEO Luiz Inácio Lula da Silva is started a 12-year verdict for corrupt practices following surrendering to police force. It follows a couple-day stay-off house saw him get shelter in a Steelworkers Association house following lacking a trial last date to brush oneself in. The 72-year-old walked out of the office space in his hometown, close São Paulo, and was undertaken off by police force cars. Lot of supporters had overlooked his car of outgoing the stage. Lula maintains he is harmless, but told he would perform in the detention order versus him. Length on Brazil's Globo News showed Lula and his bodyguards enterprising via the mob external the Association House, in the city of São Bernardo do Campo. He was later delivered by police force chopper to the southern town of Curitiba to start his jail verdict. Rally set off salute as the chopper landing, and revolt police force fired teardrop gas to scatter the mob. The Flame Division told 8 human beings were lightly injured, one of them by a tire shot. Lula was the leader for October's president poll, but his jailing foliaged the racing broad outdoor. The ex-medalist and trading association militant is an portrait drawing for the leftward in Roman America. He was the at first leftward wing lead to do it to the Brazilian chairmanship in almost part a age. Over on Sunday, flanked by his impeached heir as CEO, Dilma Rousseff, the 72-year-old brought an passionate 55 min speaking. "I will perform in the procedure and all of you will be Lula," he said the mob in São Bernardo do Campo. "I'm not over the act. If I didn't trust in the act, I wouldn't include begun a policy side. I would include begun a coup." Promised to go out of his legislative twists greater and much stronger, he told, "I was unborn in a brief cervix so I can hold my chief top." While he leftward the phase, he was transferred on the shoulders of impressed supporters singing complimentary Lula. He's been a drama few days in Brazilian policy, the In a Nation House utilized to policy mystify. As Sunday went on, the position thick felt love it was received strained. As protesters locked the exits prevent Lula of outgoing, several vans of Fed police force arriving and down there was say of revolt police force inbound, too much. But aware Lula's detention could conduct to confrontations, they weren't an explicit present. And in the late, Lula walked out and got in a car in no resistance his letting. The symbolism the end of El's head in Brazil's policy laundry soap opera. But down there's no issue same characteristic in the following a. His impact will go on to prevail the forthcoming president elections, though if same's prohibited of fleeing oneself. The extortion versus Lula came of an against corruption inquiry named as Transactions Car Clean, that has involved top political community of several parties. He was condemned of reception a renewed beach flat cost several reais, £790,000, as a bribery of mechanical engineering company OAS. Lula says his belief was intended to halt him of fleeing for CEO once again. In an procedure given on Thursday, Fed magistrate Sergio Moro told Lula had to this oneself up 17 o'clock regional period, 20 o'clock GMT, on Friday at the Fed police force staff in the southern town of Curitiba. He skipped how last date and retreated to the association house in his hometown, causing a couple-day wait play. The defense says Lula's property of the flat has never been tested and how his belief rests substantially on the speech of the ex-president of OAS, oneself condemned of corrupt practices. Lula serviced as CEO of 2003 to 2011. In spite of conduct in view polls front of October's poll, he remnant a separating drawing. Time he was in office space, Brazil skilled its longest time of economical increase in 3 many decades, enabling his authority to expend generously on public programs. Tens of millions of human beings were raised out of poverty reduction thanks to the initiatives undertaken by the government, and he leftward office space following 2 serial regulation, this maximal permitted in Brazil, in recording popular ratings. 2 recent minute appeals to include Lula's detention order hanging unsuccessful. High trial judiciary Edson Fachin discarded Lula's circulation on Sunday, a day following his circulation to the excellent trial was rejected. By a 2016 act, defendants can be concluded if their belief is upheld on a at first circulation, as Lula's was over in the year. The ex-CEO many faces 6 individual anticipated testing for corrupt practices. As a condemned, Lula would usually be prohibited of permanent for poll in October, but Brazil's top election trial reserves the definitive judgment if and while he submits his candidate.